Hi, I'm Jenny, owner of Rich Gallery, and following on from my series of blog posts for artists and makers, I'm going to talk to you today about the 3 things you shouldn't do when approaching a gallery. So the first thing I would advise against is cold calling. If you've read my blog post on approaching galleries, you'll know that I mentioned this in there briefly as well. The reason I say don't cold call, which is basically where you turn up with your work to a gallery and expect them to see you without an appointment. The reason I say don't do this is, one, it looks unprofessional, and two, the gallery owner might not have time. I schedule out my time kind of quite strictly. I know what appointments I've got when. Obviously, when you're serving customers, this it gets put back, but I structure out my day. I know who I've got to call, what I've got to be doing then, and I actually just don't have time to be seeing people on an ad hoc basis without an appointment. Also, I think you're just putting them on the spot, and it doesn't give them chance really. If you've caught them off guard and they're having a bad day, and actually it's somewhat of an invitation because you've turned up without an appointment, you're not going to be giving them the chance to look most favourably on your work. In most cases that wouldn't impact on a decision, but you really want to be giving yourself the best chance of getting your work into this gallery, and obviously annoying them before you've even set off is not really going to help. So what I would always say is just do your research and find out how they like to be approached. Most galleries will have this information on their website, and if they don't, you can just give them a call and say, how do you like to be approached? And they'll say, by post. And then you just do that. A lot easier for everyone concerned, really. You know what they want, and they know that you've bothered to do the research and that you're kind of serious about it. So point number 2, I would say, kind of along a similar line, is don't bombard them with information. So, if you've been asked to approach via email, you don't need to send your whole life story. You don't need to send a massive long essay of a kind of covering email, and then tons of images, and then all your prices and descriptions in a separate document, and then your artist statement, and then your CV. It becomes quite a lot of information for somebody to kind of digest. What I personally am looking for is the images. That's what I'm going to judge on. So what I'm really looking for is that you've kind of selected your images well. So I think as well, what I want to know is that you can see the difference in your work, and I want to know that you know what is your strongest work, and you can filter that out, so that when I'm receiving, I'm happy to receive 3 images rather than 10 if they're your strongest work. So send a few images and a guide range of prices, maybe a short paragraph explaining a little bit about you and your work, and then say, for more information you can visit my website and include the link, or if you're interested in and would like more images, please email me and I'll get back to you. The other reason I say this is because quite a lot of people don't realise when they're sending images how big file sizes they are. So for instance, I sometimes get emails that are 32 megabytes, which that's a really, really big email, and it slows down the whole system. And I don't have, for submissions where I think, oh, that might work, I'll save it for a later date. If it's 32 meg, I'm not going to, because it's too much of my inbox to take up for one application. So, that's another thing I would say, is just be aware of that. If you're wanting them to save your email, keep it for a future date, it's much better to have smaller file sizes because they're more likely to keep them. So, the final point I would make is do not badmouth other artists. I see this a lot, kind of done informally in emails, or they've made an appointment to come and see me because I've said I like their work. They've come in to see me, and you get kind of, oh yes, but it's not like so and so's, and I'm much better than this, and it doesn't look very professional. Bear in mind that actually it's a fairly small circle, so a lot of galleries will know the artists, or other galleries, or that they'll have contacts, so you may risk insulting somebody they're actually kind of quite friendly with. But also, your work should be doing the talking. You shouldn't need to kind of put down somebody else's work to bring yours up. You should be able to have your work stand for itself. And that's, I think, all you want to be doing is explaining kind of what you do, and how you make it, and what the real story behind your work is. And that should sell itself. If it's not right for the gallery, then nothing else you're going to say will impact on that. If it's right for the gallery, then you don't need to have said it anyway. So there are very few artists who do that, but there are a few I come across, and it just doesn't come across as very professional. You wouldn't want me to go around slating lots of other galleries, because you kind of think, oh, it's just competitive, and it just doesn't come across very well. And it's the same thing that I think people genuinely don't realise what they're doing and how it's coming across when they're doing it. So that's the final tip I would say. So you've got, don't bombard them with images and information. Be concise and always offer more information. If they want it, then they can contact you if they're interested. Don't cold call, because it just looks unprofessional, and it's always better to just check they actually like your work and want to see you, and then you can make an appointment. And the final thing, as we've just mentioned, is don't badmouth other artists. So there you are. I hope that's been useful, and don't forget you can find out lots more information on the blog, which is itchgallery.co.uk/blog, and there'll be a lot of information on there. And there's also information on our Facebook page, which is itch.oakham, OAKHAM, where you can find out more information on mentoring for artists and makers as well. Okay, bye.